Don't think, just solve. This is probably one of the most used phrases cubers say to each other. But what exactly does it mean? How are we able to perform 15 to 20 moves per second algorithms, but not thinking as fast? This all starts from the learning phase. Before we get into that, let's dive into how we remember things in the first place. Humans have different memories. A short-term memory, which is the one you're using right now, where you process information and understand them, forgetting anything that you don't focus on or anything you choose to ignore. Do you remember the first words I started with? The information in the short-term memory are of short duration, hence the name. And the processing of this information can be disturbed by distraction. For example, if you're learning an algorithm for the first time and get distracted by someone calling your name, chances are you'll forget it. And this is because the capacity in this type of memory is very limited. Sensory memory is the memory your brain uses to process information from your senses. For example, recognizing a certain pattern on a cube. Your eyes will transmit a message to your brain saying this is a T-perm, and your brain will activate the muscle memory for that T-perm algorithm. Once you learn an algorithm, you store it in the long-term memory, which usually never gets erased. The capacity of the long-term memory is huge, and when you forget something, it is not because your brain does not find the information in the long-term memory, but it is because it is unable to recall it. And the best way to recall an algorithm or recall any other information you're looking for is by practicing it continuously. Over time, with continual practice, actions as complicated as riding a bike, learning a new algorithm, or even playing a tune on a musical instrument can be performed almost automatically and without thought. Are you able to recall the T-perm algorithm without holding a cube? Chances are you can't. Memory for skills can be thought of as another distinct system. For example, you may be able to ride a bike perfectly, but that doesn't mean you could explain to someone the exact sequence of movements you needed in order to cycle. You may not even remember when and where you learned the skill. Now that you have an idea on how memory works, let's see how it affects your solves. If you usually solve with one color as a cross, solving with a different color may trigger your conscious thought, as you have to think what your next move would be for this unusual color. This is because your brain is used to solving that one color. For example, white, as it is the most common, automatically cancels out the yellow color, as you don't need it for the first two layers. It ignores it, making it easy for you to find the right colors, such as red or blue, and then stops ignoring it when you have to go for the last layer, as you'll be looking for the color yellow. But if you pick blue, for example, as a cross color, your mind becomes confused, as it was used to excluding yellow when it should now exclude green. And for cubers who are color neutral, which basically means cubers that solve with any color as a cross, if they try and solve a special cube, like an image cube that SpeedCubeShop has, will probably find a bit more difficulty as your brain is not used to that new cube. You can get any cube you have in mind at SpeedCubeShop.com and use discount code CubeMan for a sweet discount and also help support this channel. Now, when you're solving, your brain is used to recognizing algorithms and then performing the move they require. These moves being stored in your muscle memory, if practiced enough, don't need conscious thought, as you are technically solving without thinking. If you start thinking about a certain move, sensory memory, as the recognition of the pattern, may interfere with long-term memory, creating confusion or forgetfulness. This is why cubers, when speed solving, should avoid this confusion by not thinking. So the result can be as smooth as the subscribe button. You may also find some difficulty trying to perform an algorithm that you know very well at a reduced pace, as your brain will have to think of the next move rather than doing it like it usually does. Now, there's another question that might arise. Does this mean professional cubers are able to learn things faster than a beginner? Well, yes. A study scanned both a professional and amateur violinist while they performed the movements that would be required in order to play a section of a Mozart concerto. While there were many similarities in the activation, with both groups showing activation of the motor cortex, which is the area of the brain responsible for causing actions, There was more focus activation in the professional group, indicating their improved efficiency in performing these movements, similar in the case of a professional cuber and an amateur one. If you guys enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel if you're interested in more, and turn on the post notification to never miss an upload. Don't forget discount code CubeMan at SpeedCubeShop.com for a discount, and as always, I'll see you guys next time.